So that's sweet, sweet gold.
So it begins. Welcome, everybody, to our coverage of the NCBB National Championship for Season 38. This is the grand finale. Number 3 seeded Texas A&M Les Agricultures. Number 4 seeded Pitt Panzers, coached by Bazakistine and Kazark, respectively. We've got Bretonians. We've got Dwarves. It's going to be a slow, grindy, tactical affair. Both teams are very good. Both teams are well coached. Neither team loses very often, but one of them's going to have to today. And the odds makers, you know, hosted by Charlie and friends, they think Pitt's the favorite, but we'll see if they can get the job done this time, unlike last season.
Didn't Pitt win last season?
They got to the title game, but
Oh,
lost to
that's right. They lost to
Oregon
Great.
in overtime.
That
And
is correct. I apologize. I thought Pitt was going for back to back here, but yes, we do have Pitt as a slight favorite. Pitt was the favorite of the four to come out at 3-1. Texas A&M was at a 6-1. We had Ottawa at an abysmal, like a
8-1 or
20 to
something.
1 or something like
20-1.
that. You can put any number there, really. I mean, it doesn't matter.
To be
It's
fair,
Ottawa.
that game was back and forth. I watched the replay. I didn't get to watch it live, the Pitt Ottawa game, and it was kind of just a wild, screwy game that ended up being 1-0, and nobody had any rerolls left by like turn 3 of the second half. It was just a cluster fluff. But
That
go ahead. Well, I'll go ahead then. That game, which was a good close contest, paled in comparison to the semifinal between Texas A&M and UNAM. UNAM obviously has a history in this league of choking in big games, and this one went into overtime. The star werewolf Alfonso made a play late to knock the ball loose and prevent the score by the Bretonians. Goes to overtime. UNAM gets the ball. They have the ball in the paws of their star werewolf. They have the numbers advantage. They have like a 4-1 reroll advantage. And Menno could have played it a little bit safer and backpedaled a bit and then made his move in like 2 to 3 turns, but he decided to go for glory. Needed 2 GFIs and snaked the first one going into the end zone. Baz recovers the ball and with limited players left just makes enough critical plays to get it to the other side of the field and win the game, and it was glorious to say the least.
I do appreciate you sharing that Twitch stream earlier. I hadn't seen that game live, so getting to watch that turn of events. Yeah, I remember everybody talking about should he have done it? Shouldn't he have gone for it? I mean, God, 2-1, two pluses with a reroll to
I
win
mean,
and
the
get your
odds
ticket
are
in.
so decent, but
I I would probably have done what Minnow done and
yeah,
just gone for it and just not, and just assumed that perhaps today, you know, fate is on my side. But yeah, I mean, I can also obviously understand the reasoning behind playing it safe. I mean, because if he had played it safe, I mean, he could have ran away with it. He could have made things very difficult for Baz to get back at him. Uh,
it
it's a
seemed
tough call, but in the heat of the moment, I mean, I've made my way to one semis and oversold my chance at the shot, but everybody plays it differently, and you can't, you know, unless you're there and you can't say that you know. So
it's true. Yeah, I mean it's a tough call. There have been many coaches who've been in a similar situation in different tournaments or leagues or whatever else, and it's a tough call to make. I mean, I don't know the exact math off the top of my head, but it's pretty dang good versus stalling it out for 3 more turns. And you had the numbers, you had the ball, you had like a movement 10 agility for werewolf with the ball. You had 4 rerolls to Baz's one. Most likely, you could have like slow played it and gotten the win without rolling, GFI dice or dodge dice or whatever. But the temptation to just get it over with before you double skull somewhere or leave a gap, or he just rolls a bunch of pows or something. Like the temptation to just like get the W. Like it's so tempting, and many a person has fallen victim to it for better or for worse. But
Absolutely.
that's in the past, and now these two teams are here. They've met a couple times previously. I believe this season they tied. I want to say last season Pitt won in like a 1-0, just tight affair very late in the second half. There was a huge scrum, but Dwarves are good at that kind of stuff. Emerged victorious, but these are two very good programs. Neither team blocking exceptionally well so far. But just for comparison's sake, if we look at these two programs, I believe Texas A&M is in their fourth season. They have a combined record so far in 44 games, 27 wins, 11 ties, 6 losses. That's ridiculous. I mean,
Mildly ridiculous. Yeah.
Bretonians are not tier 1. Not even sure they're tier 1.5 or 2, and I've never understood why there's a 1.5, but they're not considered great, and Baz has done very well with them. Dwarves, on the other hand, have not had a lot of success in this league overall. It's a very tough race to really use correctly and limit their weaknesses. But in 33 games with Pitt, Kazaric is 22-8-3. Basically, these coaches do not lose with these teams.
Two exceptional coaches in our league, as much as I hate to recognize either one of them, but yeah, no. Kazaric with Duke and with Pitt, he just keeps coming back with these teams that just make it to the finals. And Baz has been, I mean, look at his record. I mean, it's really good with a team that some people consider suboptimal. I mean, well played on both. And even Baz was saying, there's no way he can do anything against Menno, and he pulled it off.
Yes, he
So,
did.
what do you say?
How do the betters view this game? Were they in favor of your line, or were they putting money on the underdog? How did they see it?
Right now, we've got three on the title. We got Dutch and Nelf have Baz backed, but only with small money. We got 55K on Baz, whereas Gark came in heavy on Pitt with 170.
Wow.
It's an even money line. There can be only one.
As far as the
But
game
yeah, then
goes,
there's a little bit of side betting with throw rocks, some surfing, some half dice blocks, but
nothing too substantial.
uh, no, nothing too substantial. I think Gark is the one that is currently cheering the most, but actually, no, I forget. There's one other one. I believe Dutch might have 60K on this game. All his monies.
Oh. Alright. As far as the game on the field, we've gone 2 turns. I mean, I don't know how you want to describe it, 1.5 or 3, but not a lot of knockdowns, no removals on either side yet, and this is one of those turns where it could end up being a bit of a trap for the Bretonians, because you're going to end up in a fair amount of contact, even if you do knock several of the dwarfs down. And you have to invest a lot of resources in the middle and the top if you choose to go for both. Looks like he might just abandon the north, though. Oh, we're just going to stay put. Okay.
Well, this is pretty classic, Zarek with the very slow. I mean, it's classic. It's classic K, and it's also classic Dwarf. We're just you slow roll it. You let the game kind of come to you. You wait for your opponents to make a mistake. I mean, Boz obviously knows this is coming. He's able to play the waiting game, but I mean, the Dwarfs are just it's one of the reasons I don't like them. The race in particular, Dwarves. It seems like it's such a slow
Boring.
team, and it's methodical. It's plotting. It's not. It's not as exciting as some of the other teams can be, but I mean, K plays it very well.
It's not
So
as exciting as say like a Skaven team.
exactly, Skaven. Give me some AG4 leaping move 9 people that are just gonna completely flip the script on you without you knowing it, kind of thing.
Some fun stuff.
Right?
Pitt's on the move. I don't know. I guess it's just their turn, but I was trying to transition to talking about the Bretonians a little bit and how their blitzers are the key to the team. And unfortunately, they did lose a good one late in the season. So, fearless freshman Caleb Chapman is trying to fill in valiantly. But when you start with block, catch, and dauntless, and your movement 7, very useful player still. But Aeneas Smith, Blotched Up Frenzy, Isaiah Spiller scored the game-winning touchdown in overtime. Movement 8, Strength 4, Blotched Up, Sure Hands. And Jalen, guy who picked up the ball after the fumble, basically. Strength 4, Blotched Up, Tackle. So all a little different, all very important. And I would have been very interested in using Bretonians in 2020. The Yeoman got better, but you get an ogre, you swap out 2 blitzers for 2 suboptimal looking throwers, and the blitzers lose catch, I think, or is it dauntless? I think it's dauntless, which I felt was a very important skill for them. So I don't know.
Yeah, Dauntless is one of those sneaky skills that you oftentimes don't select, but when it's a pre-assigned skill, you learn to utilize early on, kind of thing.
Yeah, one of the teams I hate a lot as lizards is Norse, not just because the snow troll might have claw, but the damn runners with dauntless. You think you're in a good position, and then boom, 2-die block, your guy's down again. Sets up
Yeah,
another
very much a
block.
where the hell did that come from? And
Yeah,
it's oh right, Dauntless. Crap. Yeah.
little bastards. This is something Kazar could not do in last season's title game, was just leave the ball open from behind like this. The Bretonians are not nearly as adept as High Elves, for example, is sneaking around or jumping over. And this
Yeah, if I was
is
playing K right now, it would just I would be getting my blood pressure be rising because I'd just be seeing like I just can't get out of this situation, and that's why they're both better coaches than I am. I mean, I'm sure Baz has a plan here, but it's just that dwarf front that just grinds you down.
yeah. Now
It's
he's
intimidating.
now he's all locked up, which is the one thing I was a bit concerned about. And you're gonna have some guard here. You got some wrestle. You can throw some blocks, but stand firm on several of the dwarves as well. It's if you don't knock them down, all of a sudden your entire team is basically in contact for a second turn, and eventually that adds up.
Yeah, eventually Kazark's going to start removing people, and I mean, he does have 3 on the bench, but they're nothing. They're all linemen.
Damn peasants.
Yeah, they've all got their pieces out there right now.
Oh, interesting.
Ugh, stand firm dwarves.
Yeah, I mean I love stand firm, but I hate dwarves, so it's kind of a mixed feelings. Do you have a preference on the stand firm versus sidestep debate? I mean, obviously, different players have different access to it, whether it's a natural or a double, but just in theory, if you had to choose one for a player, which one would you prefer more?
All things being equal, I actually prefer sidestep. Um, it just, I mean, stand firm when somebody hits you. They know that's an option, that's a possibility, and you're going to stay there. When they hit you, especially when you got the ball marked, if they want that player off the ball, they've got to do a lot of work in order to get that player clear. Um, so even like on the edge people, you see sidestep and you kind of expect it, but when you can roll that double and get sidestep on something that people don't expect, like a like a diving, like a tentacled chaos warrior or something like that, or something,
Hmm.
just it can really set people off and really throw them for a loop. So I think sidestep is just a little bit more fun. I mean, stand firm is great, and you see that a lot more often with the big guys because that's just where it is. But boy, get some sidestep rolling around, especially on teams that you don't expect, like Nurgle, where they can move their disturbing presence around and such. Yeah, I think it has the edge in my book.
Okay. I've been
You?
tossing the idea around because I'm playing frogs in NBFL, and Salon Blitzers actually have both strength and agility access, which is a little different. And so I've been wondering, should I go stand firm or sidestep on them? And I've really liked stand firm so far, but in general, I think I lean if you're strength 4 and above, you want stand firm, and if you're strength 3 or below, you want sidestep. It just feels like if you're strength 3 and you're getting blocked, you want to give yourself more options to get away or be in a better position next turn. But if you're
Yep.
strength 4, you want to hold that spot most likely. And then if they just push you and they're stuck, next to you, maybe next turn you counterpunch them and get them off the field.
No, it makes sense. I mean, it's just how you want to play your squad, and like I said, with the sidestepping big guys or the sidestepping strength four, I mean, people just don't expect it. So I mean, that's kind of why I like it. I like to play what the hell is this? I like to play my Elfie Chaos when I can, and
Hmm.
you know, just something different that people don't really kind of know. Like they get the game lined up, and it's like, oh, it's I'm playing, I'm playing Flings, I'm playing Nurgle, I'm playing, Undead, Khemri, something like that. I know the basic what to expect kind of stuff.
Then you hit them with a curveball.
Whereas you throw them the curves, and that really can lead to some very interesting games and a lot of fun conversations with other coaches. Like, what have you built over here? It's like I really don't know either, but it's kind of fun to play.
There you go. All right. What's not fun to play against is dwarves, and half the Bretonian team is on the ground here. There's a strength
I think
4
you could
guard
actually
stand firm
I'd
right in
say
the middle.
over half. One,
Yeah.
two, three, four, five, six, seven. Ugh, three
See,
up.
that's why I leave the math to people like you.
Yeah, well, our
But
books are good.
let's hope so. This is just not ideal. But he actually is going to stand up. I was wondering if he was going to. Tough result there, getting pushed on a stand firm piece. But there goes Dauntless. Getting a stun's very nice. I think as Kazarek mentioned in the chat, no, that was someone else. Never mind. But no, this next turn is going to be very pivotal. If Kazarek can get, say, 2 removals, the score is much more likely this half. But if Baz keeps, sticking around and messing things up, maybe he's going to give himself a chance to make a play on the ball late.
Only got the one KO so far. I mean, Baz has to be breathing a slight sigh of relief, but at the same time wondering when's the other shoe going to drop.
The dwarves are in a bit of a weird position though, to where they don't have a lot of pieces. I'm not sure if free is the right word, but I mean, they've got 4 players basically stuck in the bottom half. They've got the others kind of stuck up top, but there's not really enough to really go along the sideline. Not that you need to yet, but I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see where Kazart tries to take the ball later.
And he's got all the time in the world. Playing his dwarves, la di da.
Yeah, I mean, movement 7 is very nice to have, and I think the other runner, yeah, he's actually missing this game. He got injured by Ottawa, I think somewhere in the second half, but movement
Yep.
7, block, strip
I
ball, tackles, very nice.
I think he got himself a niggle or an AV bus or something like that.
Looks like AV, although it says he's recovering from a groin strain, so maybe he had that prior.
Oh, what are you gonna do?
Not play dwarves.
That is the correct answer.
Granted, I'm not sure if we want Kazar to go back to lizards. That was terrifying.
Uh, it's one of those things where it's like, you're a really good coach, but just stop winning. You should go to Vamps or something like that,
Yeah, really give yourself a challenge. Now,
Yeah, give yourself a challenge.
I think Kazark was actually trying to give himself a challenge. He was trying to learn positioning, or I forget how exactly he described it, but he was playing more dwarves. He played some in SLA, the Slayer team, in the Secret League, America League, and then he's playing dwarves here. Maybe he's played some in like ranked back when people still played it. But he's learning a different style of the game as opposed to just strength 4 bash with the lizards, which obviously he was very adept at. I remember I was watching a clip last night in the wee hours of the morning where he had 2 players in one game have 3 casualties each, which,
Yeah.
I mean, that was just quintessential Duke. I mean, most of us would love to have a single player with, 2 to 3 casualties in a game. He had 2 in one game. But obviously he's picked up dwarves pretty well so far.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. I mean, like you said, I mean, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, we talk about lizards and dwarves with him, and yeah, maybe it'd be nice if we tried something different. But then he's going to come back with elves or something like that. And if we stick with 2016, then he's going to have some kind of freakish wood elf team that he's running up the score for Zill on.
Actually, he switched from orcs to dark elves in the NBFL, and then
Okay.
had a ridiculously good draft, and then had a even more ridiculously good like free skill roll session with the team. Basically, all rookie players get a skill roll, the 6 SPPs, and he got like 4 stats across the board on like witches and blitzers and just ridiculous shit. And so his team has been kicking butt so far, even though it was a rookie team. So we may have woken the monster or something.
So here's a question for you, like a little bit outside of the box. I've found that when I roll skills for players,
Mm-hmm.
back in the old system, the 2016, if I hit a stat, like I've got multiple people that need to roll skills, if I hit a stat on the first one, more often than not, I hit a stat on the second one.
Oh, just one of those coincidental things where it just seems like it pops up in groups.
Perhaps. I mean, it's one of those things. Yeah, I just like maybe I'm just remembering it, but like when I had 2 gutter runners roll back to back strength rolls,
Mm.
and I know at least 2 times where I've rolled doubles back to back on double skill rolls, kind of thing. And it's just like, hold on a second here. But I mean, I know I've heard whispers of that, and I was just wondering if you'd had any experience with that kind of odd streaks of luck sometimes.
You don't have to look back very far to see when Cal was in a championship game, and I had a skink with not one, not two, not three, but 4 stat rolls. If you remember, Kyle Harmon had double movement and double agility, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I don't get players like that very often. I'm actually very relatively miffed right now that my NBFL frogs literally just cannot get any sort of stat naturally rolled on any of the players. I've got 4 catchers, and I drafted 2 of them with at least 3 skills, and so I didn't have a lot of rolls there. But the other 2 were just natural, and they're up to 4 skills, and I can't get a movement and agility. Like I can't get anything on them, and so
Mm.
I don't know. Some teams just seem to have like a blessing almost, and some teams just don't. Like we saw Gark's Wood Elves right before my team had the streak of luck with Kyle, where he had just like the 5 stat freaks on the one team, and they were all ridiculous. Like the 5 stat catcher, the double stat ward answer, and the other ward answer. And I don't know. Sometimes they just come in bunches, and you got to use them while you got them.
Yeah. No, yeah, yeah. Exactly. You get the blessing of Nuffle, and Nuffle gives and Nuffle takes, kind of thing.
Need that for sure. All right. Dwarves not taking much ground from the Bretonians so far. The fend, wrestle, stand firm has been holding. Still a lot of time left. Runner is movement 7, so he would need to be at column 9 at worst at end of turn 7 for Pitt, but
Yeah, I think it's you look at the setup now, and I didn't I missed the evolution. The dwarves really had Baz by the walnuts, and it looks now like Baz is in a pretty good defensive setup. I don't. I mean, Kazark's looking to go north, it would appear, but he still has the option to switch. But I don't think that gives him anything. I mean, south looks worse than north, so I mean, he's gonna have to put his eggs into a basket sooner or later.
yeah, dwarves are not very adept at switching the field per se.
No,
And
and like I said, I mean, Baz is pretty set up down south, so I mean, he would run out of time if he tried to switch south. So he's got to go north at this point, I believe.
you would think that, but double strength 4 sidestep, you've got some fend, there's some more stand firm. It'd be tough, but maybe his only option.
We still only have the one KO. Hmm. I think Zark may have wasted a bit of an opportunity to push forward more early to get himself in a better position because now I think he's. And I am seeing this through my eyes and not the eyes of. Oh, look at
Oh,
this.
interesting. It smells like a badly hurt.
Nope, just a stun. Come on.
No, neither.
Not even that.
Okay. And
Really?
both you and Wolves were apparently wrong. He's not committed to the north at all. He's going to the
Yeah.
south. He's a damn secessionist.
But I mean, Baz has the speed to catch up to him there.
It's true, but I'm not sure trying to go through the dual strength 4 sidestep up top was going to be manageable either. And he is technically still in the middle, so if Baz overcommits to the bottom with his free players, the dwarves may be able to make a path up top again. So it could be that feigning action, you know?
See, I think that's just bait right there up top. Oh, that was his blitz too. Interesting.
Thespian having some issues joining the game, apparently. Just got 5 spectator messages at the same time. No, I like this, though. You're not committing one way or the other. You let Kazarek make his move. That's a huge POW and a huge stun. Oh my god. We think of dwarves as the bastards who normally throw the 1 die and the half die blocks, but Bretonians using the tactic to much success on that turn.
That'll learn them.
Taste of their own medicine and whatnot. But yeah, now Kazarek's in a bit of trouble here, and this is perhaps why Bretonians coached under Baz in particular have been very difficult for people to score on. I mean, their touchdowns allowed have just been minuscule since he's been running the team. Let me pull up the numbers real quick. Texas A&M, they've played 44 games and they have allowed 30 touchdowns.
You said 40 and 30?
44 games, 30 touchdowns allowed. So that's like 0.75-ish a game. I mean,
I'll give it to you.
Yeah, that's pretty damn difficult.
Yeah, and I think, Baz is also benefiting from the fact that not a lot of people have a whole bunch of experience playing against Bretonian.
It's
so you
true.
run against that wall of fend and the wrestle and all that stuff that, originally I know in our league was Bretonian. What is this? It's kind of weird and doesn't look very good, but then you put that in the hands of somebody who's a bit more creative. Oh.
And maybe sometimes you just get a little lucky, but that's brutal.
And I think that means
the dwarves
Art cannot score now.
Can't score now. Like there's a blitzer with movement 5 on column 10. You'd have to use the chain push of the century to get him in range.
6, 7. He needs 3 pushes to get there.
Yeah. Now I guess we can look for ways that Baz can score. Aeneas Smith is technically someone who can get within range.
Does that guy have guard? No. I like Dutch says in the chat, surf chase lane onto the ball.
Yeah,
if you were to bring one of his blitzers and
Lino, I think you get a better shot with Jackson, who's technically already next to the ball with Russell. Although he's clearing a path here, but not going to be easy.
Not really a path cleared, unless we got some... Huh.
Yeah, I mean, you got your...
Jeez. I do not mind seeing this at all, I'll be honest with you.
Damn. Well, looks like there will be no score from either team this half, but it's just another example of how Bretonians are just... I mean, obviously they're a defensively designed team from the get-go. You got Fend on the Linos, even if they're AV7. They're still frustrating. You got Dauntless, you got Wrestle, you got Stand Firm and Guard access pretty easily. On the Yeoman, Blodgestep with the Blitzers. It's a pain. I remember I faced Baz in, I want to say the Rose Bowl or Orange Bowl or something last season, and it's just weird playing them because nothing you do is natural. Because everything you take for granted, like following up to mark something or, frenzy, you just assume you get the second hit or, just a both down. It's like, oh, I'm still standing. Oh, nope, I'm on the ground.
Or you can create the pitch you want by pushing people around, and it's just a whole lot of nope. It's like, well, I can open up this gap. Nope. Your guy's stuck there now. You can't get through. It's like, yeah, it's a frustrating team to play against. And like I said, a lot of people don't have experience playing against them.
No.
I know I don't. And I'm certain that I would struggle mightily playing against somebody that knows what they're doing with them. I should probably pick them up, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, they've changed a fair amount in 2020, but I think they're very solid, low TV race. But we'll see if Texas A&M goes out on top with their first ever senior class and perhaps their only ever senior class. Yeah, Dutch, I can imagine Norse not having a fun time with that. All the stuff you take for granted just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
And obviously having plus strength on two of your blitzers was
Oh, sure.
pretty
I mean,
nice.
anytime you, it doesn't matter when you get the stat ups, any kind of stat ups on most any player. I mean, granted, I may have squandered a bit of a stat up on one of my warriors for Normandale. Just,
That
I took an edge on the cast warrior, and it's
that dude almost single handedly like kept you in the game against me because
he did mess you up pretty good. I mean, you just got
I just kept like ignoring the fact that he could probably make like a 3+3+ dodge, and you kept getting to the ball carrier, and I'm just like, I haven't learned my lesson yet.
I think that was your exact quote. Is like, I should really,
Learn
stop
to
doubting
respect
he
him,
hits
yeah,
me.
because he was like block, agility, and tackle, which was perfect for taking down a little
Yeah,
skink, and it just
I
it's.
had mighty blow too, and he still couldn't get you off the dang pitch.
I think you did on the final turn, and then I fandangled a score with some bullshit. But what else is new with lizards?
Uh,
All
yeah.
right, so no lizards on the field here, and no score on the field either. We've got 11 dwarfs, 11 Bretonians. There's been like a KO, and that's it. There was a badly hurt. The Slayer decided to punch himself in the face on a double skull block, and the doctor came out and I guess brought him back. So it's gonna be interesting. Baz
Yeah.
can slow play this, get the 1-0 win, but slow playing against dwarves just invites disaster.
You could easily see the AV dice flip here real quick, but at the same time, Baz has the speed advantage with the 8 move, 4 strength guy. Uh, choose your battles, pick your hole, and then punch on through. I think the Apo on the Troll Slayer was. I think you kind of got to use that in a championship game. The guy's guard, Juggernaut, might blow and sidestep.
Yeah, it's a
Not
nice
a bad
play.
call there, but it's a little scary playing without an Apo. But at this
The
point, he
record,
needs those players on the pitch.
that's what she said.
I said Apo, not a. Well, never mind.
It was more the pick your hole and punch on through. I was like, I've heard that before.
Man, we have missed Jim Fear in the booth for such a long time.
I'm pretty sure Jim has never heard
Damn.
Never.
that.
One day. One day.
Dutch saying
Greetings, all.
that quote is good life advice in the Twitch chat. Yes, it is. Welcome back, Jim. We've missed you dearly.
I've missed you all, even those of you I have not missed.
Do you have any advice
Nice
on
to be
frogs?
back.
Because I can't do anything but tie with them in the NBFL. Would you suggest rolling more stats?
Stat ups are always good, and sometimes you just got to go for play it like crazy. You know.
I think that's my issue. I've been very conservative with them, and 1-to-1 ties have been pretty standard because of that. Sometimes you get the knockdown, but can't get the pickup afterwards, and other things that happen. But it's been a lot of ties.
It's really about getting a good knockdown, getting the ball loose, and then just hoping that the next frog to jump on it can actually pick up the ball and that early defensive touchdown. You get one of those,
In a pretty good
kind of
spot.
back off a bit, but yeah, they're not a great offensive powerhouse. Like, unless you happen to roll the right stat ups, you get a AG4.
Oh, here's our thrown
Run rock.
rock. Sorry to cut you off, but
I don't know.
I think that's one of our bets.
Cool.
And Bobby Brown, I think you have to Apo that. Yep. All right. So somebody won some money there, and Baz has to use the Apo before he wanted to, I suppose. But got to keep that
10
player
to
on
1,
the
baby.
field.
10 to 1.
Wait, did someone not? Wait, no one took the bet?
I took the bet.
Oh, Dutch took the bet. Okay, well, congratulations, Dutch, our first winner of tonight's game, I guess.
Just made 100 grand.
God damn, this easiest 100 grand I've ever heard of somebody making. Aside from Jim's mama. I'm sorry. That was uncalled for.
Well played. Well played.
You have anything else going on the game, Dutch, or are you just going for the big bucks on the Throne Rock?
I've got Baz winning and then a surf.
Okay. Well, no surfs yet. Baz in a pretty good position right now, though. XCon throwing heat. I do want to figure out who threw that rock. We need to launch an investigation. I mean, if Dutch is the one who threw it, does it really count? I mean, that's seems like he's rigging the bet. We've got 9.
If a rock is thrown and it doesn't hit a dwarf, was the rock thrown at all?
Jim back with the philosophy. I love it. It's been many a year at this point, but Jim, do you happen to remember your feelings at the time when I believe you were staring down a 0-2 halftime deficit TCU in the season 33 title game? Did you have any thoughts or plans in your mind, or were you just like, well, let's find out what happens?
It was the thought of, damn it, I gave him that first opening one-turn touchdown, and that was the right move for Fresh to play. That was a defensive-based team, and he just took us right out of our zone first thing, and put the pressure on to be the offensive powerhouse, which Slan's not really, depending how you build it, still it's not really that thing. So I was just thinking, I gotta find a way to tie this game up. And it
And you did.
horseshoes and hand grenades came close, but
Yeah.
I bounced at the end. Fresh played it perfectly from jump. I was just like, I'm outmatched in this one.
I do have
But don't tell him I
similar.
said that.
We won't. I do have similar feelings though. Like I cannot figure out really how to run a frog offense. There's our first injury. Took a while. I think people would have lost money on that bet. But yeah, I've had issues where high elves in particular like seem to two turn on me very frequently, despite my diving tackle, stand firm, wrestle, what have you. And at that point, I'm like, okay, now I'm on the weakest part of my team's game. I need to run it out for 6 turns and not get sacked by some strength 4 leaping bastard high elf catcher. And I've got a strength 2 little frog back there, a wee tadpole, and it's not a good situation. It's just, it's tough. It's tough with frogs.
And the tadpole catchers, everybody's got a different way who goes down the slant path. They're like, no, that's your scorer. While some people are like, no, keep it like an elf. That's the person that can pass the ball, retrieve pass the ball duty. I don't like running a expensive, fragile player down to the end and be like, I'll just toss the ball your way. Hopefully you won't get murdered in the meantime. It's no, that plan never really ends well. Just pray for rolling stat ups. That's the
That's
yeah. You get a strength 3 catcher, at least they've got a little more durability.
I've been hoping for some movement, but no luck so far. Alright, so Bretonian's down a player. Baz hasn't used his blitz quite yet. Moves the ball a bit south. It is a damn shame that Pitt has a giant tank-looking thing in the middle of their logo and doesn't field the Tractor of Doom, but who knows?
Did I miss the discussion yet on how Baz pulled off that victory in the playoff game?
We brought it up a little bit. Charlie actually hadn't seen the play. He wasn't there to catch the game
Ooh.
and saw the replay I posted in the chat earlier today. If you had any thoughts or impressions, do tell, because that was a where were
I
you
caught that
moment.
one live. I was watching it, and there's a lot of mumble, and some people were leaving, being like, "Oh, I'm just gonna take this one," but never count out Baz. Just at the last minute, and was it failed go for it that coughed the
Yep,
ball up?
failed GFI.
It's amazing to see high-level players resulting to GFI or a double GFI without the reroll. That is
He
just,
had the reroll. His luck just failed him.
oh yeah. Which actually maybe that's what it was. It was like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
ooh.
like a 2+2+ with a reroll to win the national championship. Not technically, it wasn't the championship. It was the semifinal. Like 95% of coaches would have done the exact same play, and most of the time it would have worked.
I just don't recall if it was in a super pressured instance where he had to score that.
I think what it was, Jeff did, but it was like I think Vaz had one of his strength 4 blitzers back that was only marked by zombies. So if he didn't go for it, it would have been too terribly difficult for him to blitz with a strength 4 piece that had tackle to get to that wolf.
The wolf could have moved
So
back towards the middle of the field on Menno's side, and a Bertonian wouldn't have breathed on him for the next 4 turns, most likely.
It's just one of those moments where 99.999% of us would have done the same thing.
yeah,
Again, I think the math turns out to be somewhere around like 92.35% chance of success.
92.6.
Thank you. And it just
Didn't work.
Nuffle says no. And that's the thing about Baz. Baz is a level player that, you make a mistake, he's going to find the way to capitalize on it. And even the way he like button hooked back around to get into the end zone at the end is like, oh man, he's at that caliber.
Yep.
So that's what makes this particular match entertaining, regardless if I've got a affinity for FBC. But as in because Eric,
we're gonna get on a surf bet. Who's got money on this?
I don't think so. He pushed him away, or unless he's there. It is. Oh, that just made Dutch happy.
I hope.
Man, Dutch is coming
4-1 on that one.
Goddamn.
I'm up 200 grand now.
Dutch may not win the title tonight, but he won some money, and that's almost as good. Probably.
That's what I'm saying. Like these two teams, these two coaches, I've gotten to play both of them numerous times. They're top quality, top tier coaches, and seeing like these two quality coaches with well built teams slug it out. What more could you ask for a national championship?
Not dwarves, but otherwise, not much.
Cal to be invited? No, not this year. Sorry.
No, I was just
maybe
outside.
next season.
I don't know. I felt like my team could have played with anybody by season's end. It's just early season growing pains, and 3 Nurgle and a Chaos Dwarf team and a High Elf team was my first 5 opponents. Was not a ton of fun, but
yeah, that's a tough row to hoe.
I'm sorry. One more time.
That's a tough row to hoe. Somebody said it one time and it stuck with me. I'm like, what in the world does that mean?
I know that
one,
Jim.
but I like it.
I understand the phrase. I just did not expect that version of the word hoe to be used tonight. I thought it'd be the other way for sure.
Oh, well, if you want to talk about Wags' mom, I mean, we can switch the
Oh
topic.
my God, Charlie,
Wow.
you words out of my mouth. I was racing to unmute. Yes. Wog's
Why we
mom.
gotta pick on poor Wog? Why
He's
do we just
poor.
why do we just gotta walk up to him and be like, "Your mama's a hoe"? Just leave it at that. Like that's so mean.
Because he's going to listen to this replay and not see that one coming at all.
That's true.
It's just kind of like bloop. Left that for you. Enjoy.
And did I miss Dutch is saying something in chat about there was a rock being thrown? Did I miss that? Was there a throw a rock in this game?
You're being serious then.
Currently.
Okay. Yes, there was a thrown rock at the start of this half, and it knocked out a Bretonian yeoman, and the Appa was used to keep him on the field.
Oh man, Dutch is just cleaning up.
Yeah, someone made some bad prop bets apparently.
Well, sometimes they hit.
Yeah.
Sometimes they hit.
How did the prop bets for the Karen versus Joshua Fade game go? Because I caught part of it, and I think Karen knocked out Joshua at one point.
Yep. There was no casualty of each other, so that one didn't pay off. Both were still on the pitch at the end of the game, so that one didn't pay off. The over was hit with casualties between the two, because Karen went bonkers and I think collected 3 to Joshua's 1.
Yep.
So there was light action on that, which was kind of surprising considering how much excitement there was about that game.
I was
But
very interested myself, but we just never really heard about the matchup getting played until it was played. Basically, like it just kind of went in the dark, I guess. Ooh. Well, aforementioned Bobby Brown was attempted to. What's the word I'm looking for? Somebody in the crowd, we don't know who, we're not going to speculate, but tried to take him out with a rock at the start of the half, but looks like the Troll Slayer came in and finished the job.
Sorry, Bobby. Ain't nobody humping around.
that's his prerogative.
This is an interesting conundrum. Yeah, well, you kind of lucked out there.
Down, bottom right.
Yeah, I like that. You could get a block on both players and swing everybody else around and have a screen again. But I apparently really have to go to the bathroom again, so I'll be right back.
This XCon bathroom break is brought to you by Woodies, the elves that give trees. I had nothing prepared for that. Sorry, Jim.
It's all right. I was thinking as well. I was like, you know, this brought to you by his little girl bladder. You can only take
Bladder
a
Light,
sip.
the preferred beverage of all goblins and snotlings everywhere.
Half the calories of those other half the calorie light beverages.
Ooh,
That's not good.
bad time for that. Oh, he blitzed that? Okay. Oh, this is going to be hard for... This is, as much as I hate dwarves, I love seeing dwarves in this position where, half their team is going to be behind the ball and cannot catch it. I'm actually kind of surprised that Baz is doing all these moves and blocks with players still on the pitch. He is a better coach than that.
This dwarf conundrum of, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, at least, actually 5 players that are, let's go with 4. 4 players that are useless because they are too slow to even get anywhere near assisting getting another Dwarven player on the ball. Baz is in scoring distance, still giving up 4 turns if you were to run the ball in next turn for the dwarfs to counter, but it's going to have to make some magic happen.
All right, I've returned. Surely nothing important happened, right?
No, we just had some guest sponsors for your bathroom break.
I see Pepto was getting their money's worth.
No, actually, they didn't pay enough. It was more of a Little Baby Bladders was a big sponsor during the break, and some other things that Jim and I came up with off the cuff. So,
well, Darth, who contributed in the Twitch chat, said it was Pepto, so I just saw that. But I'll take a gander at the replay and see who else is with us.
I'm sure it's gold. Hey, that's what we missed out on, Jim. Gold.
Gold.
Good one. All right, so what opportunities can Khazar create here to basically stay in the game at this point? He's been outflanked. He's been out. I don't know. Dwarves are slow. Bretonnies are fast. I didn't have a clever way to say that, apparently.
I'm going to say he's been out with Wog's mom. I don't know. I'm going to mute myself while I laugh.
Nicely done, Jim.
Nice. I don't think anyone else is going to get served at this point, but...
Well, I think he's thinking that maybe he'll try and surf Caleb.
Not if that happens.
Yeah, well, that ends that.
You should have taken him up on the bet then, apparently.
There. I've taken him up on the bet.
Nice. Alright, Khazark using a reroll to free up these 2 players. This West Stanford is just so damn
good. The Blitzer's already moved.
Well, the Blitzer... Oh, he's moving busted. That's unfortunate. But I think you need to... I think you need a GFI still, and then swing the runner around and hope for the best at this point.
Oh, this gives Boz a great chance to stall, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he can likely move to midfield and screen off with the other blitzer relatively easily.
It's interesting to see Pitt fielding a player with a Hail Mary pass when I was told by their coach several times that they hate that skill and they would never use it. Well,
I mean, dwarf runners, I think it makes a lot of sense, same way it would on a Khemri throw raw. Your speed is not your greatest asset. I mean, for the team it is, but in general. So having a player who could punt the ball from a defensive point of view, or if you're on offense, chuck the ball downfield on a 2 or 3 turn attempt, it's useful.
I mean, I'm looking at it solely from the
foul with the Troll Slayer. Wow.
Really?
Clearly the dude's not very practiced at it.
That would have been interesting, though. A guard stand firm piece off the pitch would have been...
It doesn't really change the aspect of the game, though.
So does Boz... He stalls for a turn here, don't you think?
Yeah. I was going to say, maybe you stay near the corner since you've got double sidestep. You're not that afraid of frenzy or anything, but... I think you just complete the... Oh, nope, he's going for the blitz.
Nice.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
I was going to say you probably just complete the screen and then maybe try to dodge out with Caleb and tag the runner or something, but if you get the knockdown, it's even better.
Having a strength 4 blitzer like that, I mean, we all know it opens up so many options for just that one person murder crew that can just get out there, hit another player. You're not committing others for the assists.
It's not even necessarily like a murder tool. It's just having a single player who can open a gap or, you know, two-die a key player is just so game-changing, especially for a team that just doesn't have any natural, like, affinity to get away from the opponent. Like, you know, these blitzers, if they get tagged, you're just relying on the good old agility 3 dodge, which sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Is there a bigger jump in any stat from strength 3 to strength 4? I mean,
No.
move 2 to 3 maybe for trees? I mean, even that's so specific. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, strength 3 to strength 4, you know, drastically changes your block dice, both directions. That's all I got. But agility 3 to agility 4, for example, you know, agility 3 with a reroll is like what, 82ish% or something, and then agility 4 with a reroll is in the 90s. So it's big, but it's still only like 10%. It goes from, you know, likely to very likely. Agility 4 to agility 5, it makes it go from very likely to really, really freaking likely, and then you can start doing some BS stuff where you're dodging into tackle zones on a 2+ still, but strength 4 is
It's
just
also so situational.
Yeah.
What does a team do every turn? Throw a block. Do they necessarily pick up the ball?
Damn it.
I mean, end their turn is probably also correct.
Yeah, and the turn is correct, but you know, no die rolled for that. They're just like, boop, turn's over. But as far as like whoever you are, you're going to throw a block in a turn unless you've got no players on the pitch. Ooh.
Chase Lane will not be around to celebrate a potential championship, but at this point, that's not a huge concern for Baz.
Yeah, I think a lot of the coaching staff were, who was that?
Yeah.
So,
are we getting the double? Nope.
Forcing the score here to give himself a chance, but
does it force the score though? I mean, you can still probably wiggle your way north. You can blitz off Cam Bright, the blitzer, with Jalen and kind of set up a screen.
I think you run your way back south if you want to stall.
Well, I kind of want to stay away from the Troll Slayer. I think you can outpace him by going north.
He just tagged the guy that I thought could really make that Troll Slayer life a little annoying, but
I mean, it's still possible. But really, it's avoiding. Who's this? Cam Bright. You know, diving tackle. That's.
Yeah, if you can get away from him successfully, and all you had to do was push him. But wait, oh, he's interesting. I didn't even consider this, but it makes a lot of sense. You block that guy off, blitz the runner into him, so he's tagged. I mean, granted, you're still giving Kazaric a half die with tackle after a 3+ dodge. In my mind, I was going to blitz off with Jalen, move the ball up to where it is now, and then set up a screen with Jalen and dodge Mr. Smith and hope you make the 3+ with a reroll. But this is interesting.
I can only imagine right now that Nelf is standing up on his chair because he took the half dice block bet. So that could be interesting.
Yeah, Nelf doesn't need more money. He's fine.
Yeah, well, neither did you, and you.
I wasn't doing it for the money. I was doing it to
get in his head. Sure,
yeah. Mess with Nelf a little bit. Yeah.
You dropped $300K, but you know, it's cool.
Pocket change. Yeah.
Oh, big flex by the.
Before I made that bet, I literally could have fired my roster and made the team brand spanking new. Fired them all again and made it brand spanking new.
Is this gloating going to get edited out of the Twitch rebroadcast? Because
absolutely not.
Yeah, it's borderline smut at this point.
All right, well, Kazaric has been given a chance. It's not a large chance, but last game we saw, Baz was given a small chance, and he was able to take advantage of it. Got fortunate when he needed to, and we'll see if Kazark can't do the same.
I think you just push him into the end zone, make him score.
He's sidestep though, isn't he?
Yes,
Is he?
sidestep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Granted, if you're Baz, I think you would want to sidestep rather than leave it up to an agility 3 dodge. I mean, you've already taken the dwarves down to
I get 2
2
guys blitzed
turns, so.
So
Does anyone know the odds of a successful half die with tackle by chance? It's probably like
62%.
it's actually pretty damn high considering.
Yeah.
Even without wrestle. Well, he's got to make the dodge first, which he doesn't. Now he does. Ah.
Oh.
Close.
Oh,
But not
well
quite.
played. Well played, Baz.
Oh, and he just walks in.
He just walks
Okay.
in, which is the smart play.
Ooh.
You have the guaranteed touchdown. Dwarves are down to 2 turns and don't have any sort of runner. Their fastest player is about as fast as I
Blitzer.
am now. Yeah,
G5?
moving 5.
Moving 5.
So that's
Ooh.
7, that's 14, so they can get there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we got 3 GFIs. You're gonna have to get through a wall of wrestle and fend and sidestep and strength 4 and God knows what else.
I love Sark's comment. I do not like my team's chances if things. I have that thought every time I'm losing a game.
Yeah.
Boy, if things go badly for me, I don't like my chances.
I mean, he did finally start breaking some armor, but it all happened kind of at once when it didn't really matter. You know, first half when he has the ball, he needs to, create an advantage, get some more guys onto more guys with guard, and just make it really tough for the Bretonians and, take some space, and he was never able to do that. He couldn't move a damn soul outside of like a mere peasant. And then second half, when he finally got some casualties, it was guys that, for the most part, didn't matter, and the ball was running downfield past everyone else, so certainly not ideal. Did the bet on the half die need to be successful, or just the fact that it was thrown?
Successful.
Okay, so that one we're gonna double check the tape, but I'm pretty sure that said not successful, correct?
Not successful. No, I mean it resulted in like a knockdown, but not the right kind of knockdown.
Wrong way on the knockdown.
Okay.
It's like driving the wrong way down a one-way street. It's just ends poorly.
All right, well, we'll see if this season ends poorly for Pitt, or if they can pull out what would pretty much be a miracle at this point. Also, I'm not sure I love the fact that Cam Bright is not on the line of scrimmage. Not that Agility 2 is going to be very helpful, but... One, two, three, four, 5. Do you have to double GFI with the blocker here? Because you can't really, go with the Troll Slayer. He'll just get tagged up by the next player after a frenzy. I mean, I admit I don't know what possible play you could do here as dwarfs. Yeah, I mean, Baz's assessment there is probably very accurate. There was a turn or two where I was very concerned that if he just stays in that much contact, it could have swung very poorly for the Bretonians, but he wasn't punished. And then, like you said, Charlie, you kind of looked and was like, wait, the Bretonians are actually in a pretty good position. How did this happen? And it's just one of those things with these feisty Bretonians.
I think that was a lot of fend, to be honest with you. I mean, it almost looked like it was like a hand of dwarves closing in around the Bretonians, but they just couldn't clench their fist. Yeah. They couldn't, encapsulate them. And the Brets got out of it with fend and stand firm and whatnot, and all of a sudden it got very difficult for Zark to do anything with it, and he waited maybe a turn too long to actually make a move.
Well,
here he goes.
Mr. Ford's trying to make a move. We'll see if he can be the hero that Gotham needs, but
doesn't deserve.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, Kazarik's played this turn about as well as you could imagine. This is actually a very nice chain there to get in front of Mr. Smith, so it could come down to Mr. Spiller. And now he can't even like blitz the blocker off and go in front of him. This is getting a little interesting. He's got the other blitzer down here marked with diving tackle. You didn't have to use a reroll to pick up the ball there.
Oh, he sits there.
So you're telling me there's a chance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You still double GFI to hand off. I don't think you want to try a pass with agility 3 to agility 2, but wow, Charlie. In-game betting. Live action. Oh god, Dutch going for the cherry on top. So what do you do if you're Baz here? You've
only got one piece to worry about, really. I mean,
it's true, but you don't have many you don't have any free options to deal with it, which is one thing I don't think I loved about his setup, but
I mean, all you got. You've got the dodge. I mean, you just take Isaiah and you smack Paris and you call it a day, really.
Yeah, but if you don't get him down, you actually push him closer to the end zone, and a 3+ with dodge is not
sidestep, isn't he?
guaranteed. Yeah, well, gets it there, and gets the knockdown. So well,
but that's it.
1, 2, 1, 2. That's probably it. Poor Dutch. A little bit of.
He's got his numbers right.
Yeah, a little bit of tax on the way out. Can't forget about that. Thus, season 38 of the NCBB essentially comes to an end. We have a new champion. First and maybe last time Bretonians will ever win the title. Certainly last time Blood Bowl 2016 Bretonians, one would imagine. But hell of a game. Great seasons for both teams. Pitt comes up a bridesmaid again, but certainly haven't seen the last of Kazarik and whatever boys he chooses to use. Wolves, the team treasury doesn't go away, and we bring teams back after a year or more hiatus pretty frequently, so we have no problem taking his money, even if he doesn't need it for the short term. But yeah, Bass has already stated he's not coming back with his team. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He's in several leagues, and he's also graduating a fair amount of his team, so it always sucks to lose the best part of your team and then come back and have the struggles.
Oh boy.
Is there going to be a gang foul on this poor McKinley Jackson? You're not going to let him go celebrate with the team as he wins the title? Like, are you really going to do this to him? And nothing. All right. Well, that is that. It's been a heck of a season. It's going to be an interesting time moving forward. It seems like we'll have another season of Blood Bowl 2016 rules, so one last hurrah perhaps, but that does it here The Texas A&M Les Agricultures are our national champions for season 38. Congrats to Coach Baz, who I believe becomes the first coach to actively hold both the NCBB and NBFL title at the same time. Gru may have done it earlier, but I'd have to triple check that. So thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Jim. Everybody else, congratulations, Dutch, by the way, for winning a fair amount of change on the bets in this game. So it's been a blast, and we will see you in the future.
Cheers. Appreciate the time here. And actually, just to point out real quickly, it looks like Gark might have been a pretty big winner too, because he put 100K on Baz back at the beginning of the playoffs when they were 6-1 odds. So
Wow.
even though he lost money, 170 on Pitt and the 100 on Nelf, he still ends up being up 330. So
not bad.
I'm gonna have to apply for a loan.
No promises. All right. Take care, everybody.
Cheers.
At all.